So you've heard the hype about Omarchy, but maybe the whole idea of installing it seems a little daunting? Well, you've come to the right place. We are going to demystify the entire process, from its super fast installation to the absolutely crucial hardware checks you have to do before you even start. Let's jump in.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at why installing Arch Linux is such a challenge in the first place. Then, we'll see how Omarchy's Chef's Choice idea completely solves that. We'll walk through the famous 10-minute install, cover the vital BIOS prep, tackle hardware compatibility, and finally look at the amazing results.
So why does something like Omarchy even need to exist? Well, it really all boils down to the classic Arch Linux dilemma. It's an incredibly powerful and flexible system, for sure, but getting it up and running, it's famously a manual, and honestly, often a pretty painful process. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Omarchy's own creator, David Heinemeier Hansen, said it best. When you install Arch, you are starting from absolute zero. I mean, you have to manually configure your own Wi-Fi from the command line. That level of control is awesome for hardcore experts, but it's a massive roadblock for anyone who just wants to get work done. I mean, just look at the difference here. A regular Arch setup can easily eat up 2, 3, even 4 hours of your day, all spent in the terminal just to get a basic system running. Omarchy's entire goal is to just flip that script completely. It uses an automated installer to get you a fully loaded, productive environment in less than 10 minutes. So how in the world does Omarchy pull that off? Well, it's all thanks to this really elegant philosophy that just sidesteps the whole setup problem. The whole concept is just brilliant, really. It's borrowed from Japanese fine dining, omakase. It basically means, I'll leave it up to you. You're trusting a master chef to pick the best dishes for you. Here, the chef has picked out the absolute best tools and settings for a perfect developer setup. No guesswork needed. And what does that mean for you in practice? It means you get a system that just works right out of the box. The best tools are already there, the settings actually make sense, all the hard choices have been made for you, and it all looks fantastic. You can literally start being productive the moment it finishes installing. Okay, now for the part that really makes people's jaws drop, the installation itself. This is where that whole omakase idea really shines. Seriously, the entire process, from the moment you boot the installer to having a fully working desktop, takes somewhere between 2 and 10 minutes. It all depends on your hardware speed, but think about that. It's just a wild departure from the hours you'd normally spend. And the process itself couldn't be simpler. You download the file, you burn it to a USB stick, you boot your computer from that stick, you answer maybe a handful of super simple questions, and then you just point it to the hard drive you want to use. That's it. The installer takes care of everything else. Okay. Before you get too excited and run off to download the ISO, we need to have a serious talk about the pre-flight checklist. These next few steps are not optional. They are absolutely critical, and the installation will fail if you skip them. Pay close attention here. You have to go into your computer's BIOS or UEFI settings before you even try to boot the installer. There are a couple of things in there you have to change. All right, once you're in the BIOS, you're looking for 2 things. First, you need to disable Secure Boot, and second, you need to disable something called TPM, or the Trusted Platform Module. The documentation is very clear. These are basically Microsoft security features designed for Windows, and they have got to be turned off for Omarchy to install, period. Now, another thing that's not up for debate is security. Omarchy makes full disk LUKS encryption mandatory. This isn't an option you can toggle on or off, it's a core feature. And the reason is simple. If your laptop ever gets lost or stolen, your data is completely unreadable and safe. For professional work, that's a massive win. And that mandatory encryption actually leads us perfectly into our next topic, hardware compatibility. Because there are a couple of really common gotchas that we need to talk about right now. This is probably the #1 question people have. You've got this beautiful encrypted system. Can you use your nice, clean Bluetooth keyboard to type in your password when you first turn the computer on? And the answer, let me be crystal clear, is a hard no. This is so important. At that initial boot up screen, before the main operating system has loaded, none of the Bluetooth drivers are active yet. So you absolutely must use a good old-fashioned wired keyboard, or maybe one that uses a little 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle to type in your decryption password. All right, what about all you Mac users out there? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. If you've got an older Intel-based Mac, great news. You can install Omarchy directly from the ISO. You'll just have to disable Apple's version of Secure Boot first. But if you're on one of the newer M-series Macs, M1, M2, M3, direct installation is not supported. It is possible, but it's a much more involved manual process that starts with installing Asahi Linux first. So you've done your BIOS prep, you've got the right kind of keyboard ready, you've run that lightning-fast installer. What's the end result? What's the big payoff? This is it. This is the whole point. You've completely sidestepped that multi-hour, headache-inducing terminal nightmare, and in its place, you have this incredibly streamlined, fully secure, and just beautiful keyboard-first environment. And the best part? You got there in the time it takes to brew a pot of coffee. Omarchy really does transform the entire Arch Linux experience, taking it from this intimidating project and turning it into a truly accessible, powerful tool. So now that you know the path forward and you know the prerequisites, the only real question left is this chef's choice approach the right fit for you and the way you work?
Enhance your coding skills with us. Don't forget to subscribe to Code 5 Food for the latest updates and tutorials.